Minnesota Vikings have been around since 1961. And I just want them to win a damn Super Bowl before I die. Welcome to Before I Die with Jessi and Myles on Purple Daily and Score North.
Just one before we die. I'm Jessi Pierce. He's Myles Gorham. He's Ross Brendel. We are back in action. Another Victory Monday, boys. 42-21 crushing defeat over Kirk Cousins and the Falcons to improve to 11-2. Your Minnesota Vikings against 6 straight wins, keeping pace with the Lions at 12-1 and the Eagles, who are 11-2 for top in the NFC. Guys, let's talk about all the good. We had some questions about Sam Darnold a couple weeks back. There were some interceptions. There was some sloppiness. There were some bad decisions. Not on Sunday against the Falcons. 22 for 28, 347 yards, 5 tutties. You guys, Sam Darnold, in his 13 games in his first season with the Vikings, he has thrown for 3,299 yards with 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And he has the team playing as great as they are right now. He's on pace for 4,314 yards and 36 touchdowns. Only 2 quarterbacks in Vikings history, Daunte Culpepper in 04 and Kirk Cousins in 22, have passed for more yards in a single season. And only one has thrown more than 36 touchdowns, which was Daunte in 04 with 39.
Should have won MVP that year, by the way.
Right? Like, Sam Darnold. Yes,
Sam Darnold looking like Daunte Culpepper. No,
like
I don't know what it was, but he was like, he's been rolling the last few weeks. By the way, since the slump he had in the middle of the season, he's really been rolling. And this one yesterday, this is maybe just me being like, I hope this was the case, but it felt personal. Yeah, it was like Kirk coming back into my home. This is my house now. Like, you don't live here anymore. Like, you had your chance. I live here now. This is my house. And he cemented that. And I love that. And I doubt Sam is thinking petty like that, but I will for him because that's what it was. It was personal. And it started off a little rocky on both sides, like the defense giving up some yards and some points. And I was like, uh-oh, is Kirk going to have one of those games against us after he's been struggling? And it didn't. And he didn't. It didn't happen. Like, he threw some chunk plays here and there. But Darnold, when we talk about wheeling and dealing, we always compare the quarterbacks. Sam Darnold was the A tier where Kirk was the C tier today. And that was just sweet. It was beautiful. It was just Darnold's, all 5 of his touchdowns were all different, but they were so fun at the same time. Each one was fun. Each one was had you at the edge of your seat. That one to Justin down the field, the big touchdown, 52 yards or whatever it was. I was at the edge of my seat, oh my God, when he threw it, I was like, oh no. And then he's wide open and he gets to walk in the end, and same with the Addison one, oh man, it was all over the place, but it was so fun. They had some lulls here and there, which happens, but
the start of the game was kind of how is this
kind
gonna
of
go,
last week,
right?
Yeah. It felt like the Cardinals game, and then all of a sudden they hit they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. When they turned it on, it was I'll let you guys go, but it was just so fun. And I think it was even more fun because I'm not a Kirk hater, but I was always a proponent of it's okay to move on because of his price tag, because of
overpaying him. Yes,
overpaying him and the structure, the amount of the strong guarantees of the Falcons are stuck. By the way, now the Falcons are stuck with that for at least 2 more years. The Vikings have flexibility. And we talk about QB controversies. The Vikings have one, but theirs is a good one. The Vikings are in a good QB controversy, whereas the Falcons are in a bad QB controversy. And I'm just glad to finally be out of that, I don't know what to call it, but that limbo.
The question, yeah.
Purgatory.
Yes, it was purgatory. Mm-hmm. And Sam Darnold going into the season, you would have thought it was purgatory too, but that dude, but they have a long-term plan too. Go ahead, Jessi. I'm rambling, but yeah.
I love it though. I love it. I love the passion.
He's excited.
I always love the passion.
I am excited.
We appreciate that here on Before I Die on Purple Daily. That begs the question too, and I wasn't really going to broach it, but since we brought it up a little bit, Sam Darnold, his price tag keeps going up, right? Do the Vikings truly consider franchising him? We know JJ McCarthy is kind of supposedly the future in the way that O'Connell has been able to be that quarterback whisperer. You know that he is in good hands. But do you tag Sam, or do you try to keep him around? Do you let him go explore? Because after this year, he's free to do as he pleases. But do you put that price tag? Because I think the Vikings are going to have probably about $76 million, and you're looking in the 40s easily for Sam Darnold.
Well, the note yesterday was, and this should not shock anybody, that there's been no contract talk with Sam Darnold. I can see, depending on how the season goes, could there be at least some cursory talk about maybe some sort of friendly deal? Yeah. I think that could happen, but a lot of that just depends on how this season finishes. I would still be shocked. I think it's 99% that J.J. McCarthy's your starting quarterback next year, leaving a little bit of wiggle room for, if the Vikings actually somehow do go all the way and win the Super Bowl, you're probably going to try and bring Sam Darnold back on maybe a 1 or 2 year deal and not Trent Dilfer, Elvis Gerbach the thing up. Yes, that was a 2000s football reference, even though not nearly the same scenario. I want to backtrack just a little bit, though, because Myles, you said you'll be petty for Sam Darnold, and I think he took it a little bit personal. I don't think he would ever say it, but how can you not take it personal? Yeah. 100%. You're absolutely going to. No. This is my team now. These are my guys. People have asked on my entire career. I'm having a nice year, and I'm going to show it to everybody. And I think that was really big, not just for him, but for the Vikings as a whole. Where that leads long-term, Jessi, I don't know. We got to see how this finishes. If the Vikings still think they're going to have to win road playoff games, we can talk about their path to having home playoff games maybe a little bit later on, but logic would tell me he has to win a couple playoff games for that to still even be a realistic conversation, because to your point, and it's to Sam's credit, he's going to get paid by somebody. Yep. And if he wants to get paid by the Vikings, he'll probably have to chop some money off the top to even get that conversation started. And I would say if Sam can find a place that he feels comfortable with and can go get paid, go do that because you've earned it.
Yeah, he really has.
Yes, he has. And I'm in a situation where it's go test that market, and you're going to get paid a lot of money to go somewhere else. But Sam's always going to know that J.J. McCarthy's like waiting in the wings. That's always going to be the case. So I never viewed that as like a possibility. Now, if they win the Super Bowl, I don't care what they do. Build that man a statue. I don't care. I couldn't care less what they do. Give that man half the franchise for all I care. Like, I don't care what they do if they win. But staying in the realistic lane. If they don't, it's okay to move on because they have a contingency plan, and that's also why they also brought Daniel Jones back. Or in, I should say, is because maybe he's your veteran backup / maybe stopgap starter, whatever. I'm not saying he's going to be Sam Darnold, but I think they have a recipe of kind of what they want before as they transition into J.J. McCarthy. And so Darnold's done everything in his power, and going into the season, their goal for both sides was let's play this season out and then go from there. Darnold's playing for a career essentially, right? This is his career opportunity. The Vikings are playing for trying to get the playoffs and just gap themselves into J.J. McCarthy. And so far it's been best of both worlds. You've gotten the greatness of Sam Darnold and the greatness of the Vikings team and the coaching staff. So it's all come together in a really great way. I just want to enjoy it.
How thankful do you think Daniel Jones is that he is no longer in the dumpster fire that is the New York Giants? Literally the dumpster fire. Did you see there was a plane that flew across above the game yesterday?
Well, did you see they asked Malik Neighbors about that too?
And he said, I didn't buy the plane.
I didn't buy the plane, yeah.
I think we talked about this, last week. Maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe we didn't. Heck, maybe I'm making it up. But I think Daniel Jones choosing here, knowing that for a couple weeks he's probably going to be on the practice squad. Maybe the rest of the year he'll be on the practice squad. I think this was him trying to do the reset button maybe slightly quicker than what Sam Darnold did last year when he was backing up in San Francisco. He probably could have went to the Raiders and been plugged in as a starter within a couple weeks or maybe a couple of other spots. But I think he realized that that's not good for him. And to Myles' point, come here, maybe play out this year. Daniel Jones is going to do the same thing. He'll test the waters, see what he likes, see what he doesn't like. My hunch is he's going to get offers to be a backup or the quote-unquote, you can compete for a starting job, but more than likely still be the backup.
We won't draft a quarterback. We like you, and then
correct.
They draft a quarterback.
And I think it's going to be up to him to decide where he wants to be. And I think the Vikings look at this and say, hey, we have a couple months head start if this is a guy we want to even entertain bringing in as the backup or that bridge stopgap quarterback if something does go wrong with J.J. McCarthy. But yeah, I think Daniel Jones just, as a competitor, he probably wants to play, but I think he also has to be appreciating the stability of the franchise that he's in, maybe stepping back from the pressure a little bit and hopefully rebooting and resetting his career a little bit. Because I think for all these guys, even Kirk Cousins, you do want to cheer for them. Like, you never want the game is at its best when everybody is performing at their highest level.
Well, yeah. Yes.
So I agree with that. Now, I do think the people who are angry at booing Kirk Cousins yesterday, come on, that's part of the deal. I mean, it is.
I'll admit it. I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins, but it's his face. Like, it's just his looking face. Like, that's been a problem for me.
That's fair.
Him
that's
and
fair.
Mark Teixeira. Mark Teixeira is another guy.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw him on the street, I would just want to punch his face. Like,
It's
I
Like
can't
baseball
stand his
player
face.
Mark Teixeira?
Yes. Yeah. He's
It's a
got
punch
that
me
smug
face.
looking face. Yeah. I hit him with a pillowcase full of bars of soap.
That's
I
really
don't
funny.
know. Yeah, it is. That's my biggest problem. With Kirk
I'm
Cousins,
okay with that though. Also, like that to that point, Ross, a lot of people, like, you forget when a team comes into your stadium, the goal isn't to cheer them on, it's to cheer your team on. And so why would they not boo him and the Falcons? Like, also, there goes Ross.
It's fine. He was
Yeah.
fading into oblivion anyway
Yeah, he
with
was.
his fuzziness. So
I'm
My
working
last-
on the camera here. Apparently, I also have
Yeah.
a punch me face, which I know, and the camera doesn't like it.
My last point on this is essentially that, like, yes, like, thank you, Kirk Cousins, but, like, there's not a lot to thank him for. They won one playoff game in 6
did
years.
win.
They
Yeah.
made the playoffs twice. I'm not blaming him, but, like, he didn't do enough in terms of, like, the team success for it to be like oh, thank you, Kirk, welcome back. No, like, dude, like, thanks for coming. Like, welcome back, but, like, we're going to kick your butt and move on.
I think I
Like,
saw a
that's all
sign
good.
that called him Kurt. Like,
I call him Kurt
right?
all the time.
That's
I call-
incredible.
That's my, like low-key nickname for him when he's playing bad is Kurt.
I love it. Love it.
Welcome back, Kurt. I knew I would see those signs, and they
Yeah.
did still make me giggle.
So good.
Sorry about the camera, but some would say this is an upgrade.
Are my glasses
You know,
off?
it's a little. We'll work through it. Sam Darnold wouldn't look as good if he didn't have the receivers on the other end of those tutties. First time in Vikings history that two receivers go for more than 100 yards with 2 touchdowns in Addison and Jefferson. Jefferson surpassing 7,000 career receiving yards and becoming the first player in NFL history to reach that milestone within his first 5 seasons of the league.
Crazy.
Highlights Jefferson's impact, obviously, since entering the league in 2020. It just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then Jordan Addison. Big round of applause for my fantasy football team, which is already out of the playoffs anyway, but at least Jordan Addison looks great.
Fun.
All in all, he finished with 133 yards, 3 tutties of 8 receptions. Guys, I mean, what can we say? I love that you have the dual threat, right?
Yes.
Like, you've got both of them absolutely rocking. And Aaron Jones, to his credit, looked better, right? Like,
Yes, he
better
did.
than he has in the past couple weeks. So offensively, just everything rolling yesterday.
Yes. Well, and you know what's crazy is that stat you talked about, like the first time in Vikings history, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns by 2 different receivers. The Vikings have had some historic wide receiver duos.
Yeah.
Randy Moss, Chris Carter. Like, the fact that they didn't do that is still wild to me. And then it's not until 2024 that it happens. But hey, they were rolling yesterday, and so it was a lot of fun. Like, they both were getting open at ease, and once they got Jefferson rolling, you could just see it. Like, when he scored that first touchdown, the way he was like, "Thank you!" Like, it was like a release, like,
minute.
lifted off him.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6. That's what they say, 6 games.
6 games, yeah.
Like that, like relief lifted, and then he gets a second one. So, like, it's just, awesome to see Jordan Addison balling out too. Like, you talk about it. Do they have argument? We could talk about, do they have the best duo in the league? But then you throw in TJ Hawkins into the mix, who can run the middle of the field. It's just like the bevy of weapons. And then, like you said, Aaron Jones bouncing back and looking like his old self. It's just great to see when this offense is rolling in all cylinders. Like, they're hard to stop.
With the offense rolling as it does, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but Byron Murphy Jr. audibly said it yesterday, saying we want respect. We want to talk. We don't want to talk about the Detroit. We want the Minnesota Vikings in that conversation. Do you believe, again, 11-2, which is not at all where I saw this team being. I don't think where any of us truly saw this team being. Anybody on the national scale saw this team being. Are they true, legitimate Super Bowl contenders? Now, they haven't clinched their spot, but they are rocking and rolling. They're going to make the playoffs. They could clinch this week against the Bears. Here's how it looks. Here's the path to the number 1 seed, Myles. Detroit's last 4 games are home against Buffalo. They're at Chicago. They're at San Fran, and then they are at home against the Vikings. Meanwhile, the Vikings are home against Chicago. They are at Seattle. They are home against Green Bay, and they are at Detroit. Both teams facing a tough uphill battle for their final 4 games. How are we feeling about that? And then how are we feeling in general about the Vikings being a legit contender, or does it still feel like it's a one and done scenario when they make the playoffs?
No. I feel like they're at a point where they're a legit contender. They have to be. Obviously, if it wasn't for the Lions, they would be the number one team in the NFC. Them in the did the Eagles win yesterday? I don't even know if I remember. I think they did, but it was pretty rough. They played pretty rough. Like the Lions probably felt going, or are the Lions 13-1, 12? I don't remember.
12-1.
12-1. Like I'm sure the Lions at this point are like, we're 12-1. We should have a pretty healthy lead in the division. They don't. They still have to look over their shoulders. And and to be fair to them, I thought this division was locked up for them. I was like, okay, we'll play for the wild card. That doesn't mean we're not a legit contender, but we'll play for the wild card. No. We're playing for that division. Let's go. And I still think there's a really strong path for them to get it because the Lions have a hard path as well. They have to play the Bills, who just came off a really, really big game against the Rams, which, I mean, that was a crazy game, by the way. Really fun game to watch. But I'm sure they're upset about that. They want to go in and try to beat the Lions pretty bad, I'm sure. And then they have to play San Francisco in a couple weeks, and then they have to play us. Mm-hmm. Lots of teams vying for playoff positioning. And so those games aren't going to be like they're sitting starters and all that stuff. No. These are going to be tough games for the Lions to play. And I know the Vikings don't have an easy schedule either, but it's nice that the Lions don't have one either. I think that Week 18 game really could come down to it. And that, to me, is just really exciting. So I'm excited to see it play out.
In Week
Welcome
18,
back, Ross.
Thank you. I think my face is a little less blurry. Week 18 could be interesting, too, because it could come down to, the Vikings if the Vikings beat the Lions, but they also need this and they need this for strength of schedule. That could be really interesting to see how that plays out. I think Myles hit the nail on the head when he talked about, okay, maybe we're just playing for the wild card, but you can still be a team that's in the mix and can be a contender. I think you can acknowledge that, yes, the Vikings should be a legit contender right now, according to the masses, that you would like them to start getting some of that love. But you could also acknowledge their path is more difficult than what some other teams have if it is the wild card. Because again, I think you can win road games during the regular season when you're playing some lesser opponents. The teams that you're going to play in the playoffs more than likely are not going to be lesser opponents. If you get the wild card, could end up being Tampa Bay, could end up being Atlanta again. Okay, you'd like to think maybe you can win that game, but from there on out, you're looking at potentially playing all road games. And I continue to say that's the tough spot here. We talked about this before, and I'll continue to iterate this, and there's nothing you can do about it. Whatever realm or aura there is around the Minnesota Vikings, they need to time these pop-up seasons better. Every time they have a ridiculous pop-up season, they never get the number one seed.
What did I tell you, though, going into the season? Everyone was like, no, it's Sam Darnold, blah, 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 no big deal. I was like, but this is when the Vikings seem to have
You're right here, though. Yep, you are right on this.
It's the random QB situation. It's like all of that. Hey.
It's ridiculous.
But now, though, going back to the Case Keenum year, you still have to win an extra game. Because at least in the Case Keenum year, you did have a bye. But no, you are right. And I've said for years, if the Vikings win a Super Bowl, it's never going to be when they should. It's going to be when you don't expect it. So who knows?
Yes.
Hashtag faith.
Hashtag faith. Hey, Ross, I noticed now you fixed your camera. You called in some extra help, maybe. Did you make a call to a lawyer of any sort that would help with your camera injury? That was a little
that one was pretty good.
It was
okay.
creative.
I mean, it was okay. It was
creative. I was trying.
I mean, I don't know how the personal injury lawyer could help fix the camera. Maybe they're also a handyman.
Maybe eye issues or something. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe
suffered from a car accident.
Yeah.
Regardless, I can still make the call to Nicolay Law and see how they could help me, and maybe they would tell me that they can't. But I got a feeling they would. Quick shout out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. It's Nicolay Law. They know that when you or a loved one gets injured, guess what? Ordinary life comes to a slow crawl and things get complicated. Nobody likes that and nobody needs that. That's where the folks at Nicolay Law come in. They're just your normal, everyday folks. Heck, they're probably some of your neighbors. Maybe you go out and you play dominoes with them. See, dominoes are making a comeback, guys. Read a story about that over the weekend.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my kid likes it. He doesn't know how to actually play. I don't know if I really know how to play.
Ross. That's
as the kids would say,
Ross.
Play them
that's a
bones.
cultural thing, Ross.
Dominoes slap. People love to play those when they're having those drinks. Regardless, maybe when you're done playing dominoes with the friends at Nicolay Law, you'll ask them how they can help you. If you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. Start your path to winning at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 855-NICOLAY. That's 855-NICOLET. Based off of Myles swooping in there, I don't think I ever want to play dominoes with him because I got a hunch he's probably pretty good. And look at that smirk he has.
It's been a while.
He knows he's good.
It's been a while, but I've played a little bit in my day.
I'm with Jessi. I don't really know. There's a few games of dominoes I know how to play. I just prefer to set them up and knock them down.
Yeah, that too. That's always kind of fun.
Comments from YouTube.
No dominoes related comments this week. Comment number 1 comes from Jazz Hurd 9328, who says, speaking of yesterday's Vikings game, today was special. Thanks for the memories, Kirk Cousins, and also I'm ecstatic moving forward. 1 to 10. How special was Sunday's victory? We'll start with Jessi. How special was the victory?
8? I don't know. I mean, I don't really look at it as like, sure, Kirko comes back. I just love the domination. I love just like continuing to go. We've talked about that numerous times throughout the course of the season. I love when you just don't take your foot off the gas and you are just going full steam ahead offensively. Defense, we didn't really talk about, but they looked pretty solid as well. So I'll give it, what did I say, 7 or an 8? An 8 maybe? But yes, there were historic milestones too, as we'd mentioned, with Addison and Jefferson too. So take those into consideration. But it's a win. You keep moving forward. You got, toss it in the sack and let's go. Let's continue on. So I don't look at it as any extra special than others. But yeah, I'm very excited about the next couple of weeks and hopefully they can continue that. So give me a 7.5. How about a 7.5? Right in the middle.
Jessi, did you say sack as in like, a bag, but like you say sack instead of, are you one of those people?
No, not usually. I was trying to use maybe a football term. It was inadvertent actually.
It's cool.
But I say big. Like every Minnesotan, and it sounds like I'm begging for something. Yeah. So
I'll admit when people use sack in that term that Jessi did, I still giggle. I fought that giggle a little bit. I kept it internally.
I didn't even notice I had used it. I just came right on out.
Well, I think you're thinking it's the holiday season. Every now and then there's a couple holiday songs refer to Santa's, whatever you call that bag thing. They refer to that as a sack. What do they call the thing he puts the toys in?
The toy sack?
His bag. Santa's bag.
Yeah.
Isn't there a name for it?
Sack.
His toy bag? I don't know.
His toy sack. I think they do call it a sack. Sack
Anyways,
is now making me
Myles.
feel really uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. I don't like saying it quite as much.
1 to 10, Myles. How special was the victory?
Emotional Myles is 10 because it was nice to shove it in the Falcons and Kirk's face.
Petty Myles, that's what it is.
Petty Myles for sure.
Yep. We love Petty Myles.
But to Jessi's point, I did love that the fact that they put the game away instead of like having it be a close win, nail biter, that type of. They're like, no. Let's make this last half of the fourth quarter easy. Let's just put our foot down and go. And that was fun. Like that's what I want to see more of, and I know they're capable of. So it was nice to see them do that. So it made like. So I'm in that like 8 range too, like overall.
Here's my thought for you for whatever it matters or whatever it's worth. It's like a 3 because to a degree, it's just another game. Kirk Cousins had a nice run here, but it wasn't overly special. Also, the win means nothing if you end up playing at Atlanta in the first round of the playoffs.
Isn't that a B, by the way? Like, we could be a significantly better team, but we have to go to Atlanta, who is crap. Like,
so
come
bad.
on now.
But my backup here is if Atlanta turns around and wins the playoff game, then this win doesn't really mean a ton if Kirk Cousins is their starting quarterback.
Well, it's
so
like like the Giants game, right? Like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Bad
and then
times.
turn around and they kick your butt up and down the field in the playoffs, at least offensively. Okay, comment number 2. Packer Backer 911 says, this is exactly what I've been talking about when I told you guys the rest of the NFC North wanted you to re-sign Kirk. Now we have to worry about Darnold instead of the check down artist. So here's your final question from comments from YouTube. Kind of talked about this, but has Sam Darnold now made the Vikings feared in the NFL? Myles?
I mean, I think he's been a part of why they would be feared, right? The way he's played the last few weeks. how he played yesterday. I think it's one of those things where a game plan isn't just stop Justin Jefferson or stop TJ Hawkinson or the run game. It's no. We have to stop a lot of things, and Sam Darnold's a big part of the reason why we have to stop it. So it's not just like a simple, like early in the season, teams probably underestimating Darnold a bit and just focusing on Jefferson and those things. No. You have to focus on him now. He is a big part of everything we're doing and why it's being successful. So I think Darnold's a big reason why you would fear the Vikings right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look back at the beginning of the year, I do feel the Vikings were given the respect. I think they were given that fear, but then there was that lull kind of the past couple weeks where they're barely eking out those wins, right? Which I think made people question how serious they were. And I think that's why the conversation kind of flipped and is like, well, Detroit is a real team and they are continuing to, dominate in every fashion. But I don't like to fear anybody, guys. I don't love the word fear, right? Like, I think you respect every opponent, the bad ones and the good ones, and I think that's how you approach each game. So I don't know if the Vikings necessarily are feared because of Sam Darnold. I think, like Myles said, he's a role play, but you look at the defense, you look at every other aspect of the Minnesota Vikings, that would be a reason to fear as a complete package. But even then, I don't know. Any given Sunday, right? Anything can happen. Maybe you get a double, or maybe you get a doink in and you end up winning the game, even though you probably should have missed that field goal. Why do the Kansas City Chiefs constantly win games that they don't deserve to win? All right, it's been bothering me all morning.
Championship pedigree, Jess. That's what it is.
If he was 2 yards back, he's missing that field goal. That was so wide. It was a terrible field goal, and it somehow matched.
It was.
I lost a little bit of money on that game, guys. So I'm just
there we go. Little underdog.
She's upset.
Underdog coming back to get you, Jessi. By the way, promo code Howls will also get you some nice deals on Underdog. Let's do this and get out of here.
Time now for the Before I Die crew to give us their Before I Dies.
As we do every week, our Before I Dies, which can relate to sports or anything else. Myles, what you got? It's holiday season, so I feel like there's a kid one.
No, it's not actually this time. Okay. Besides my kids feeling entitled to presents and toys. But,
it's the holiday season.
Right? Mine is actually about work. And so the idea that the next couple weeks, like, who really wants, like, this is all the time, probably, maybe for me feeling this way, but at least the 2 weeks leading up to like Christmas and the New Year's and the holidays, like, who really has like this desire to work and like want to like overachieve in these time frames? Because I know I'm not. So you like look at situations, you're like, can I slack a little bit? Like, what I'm gonna round this out about is like, it's not about slacking. It's more about like, can we do better in society? I know the answer. The answer is no, but can we do better in society where like we just start doing less closer to the holidays and like we can chill out a little bit? Like you're like that email can wait till after the new year. Like that
talk
email
to me in 2025.
Yeah, like that type of thing. Like we don't have to don't work that extra hour or two to get something done unless it's like an emergency or necessary. Like, like chill out. Let's chill, Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I know, get your stuff done. I'm not saying don't get your stuff done. I'm not saying, like, get yourself fired for over. I'm saying just, like, as like a society, let's just take it a little bit easy. Yeah. Like, it doesn't all have to just keep churning like crazy. You know what I mean?
Let's let people enjoy their holiday season.
Yes, like, enjoy time with your families and your friends and families. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. It's not doing nothing, but I mean,
I feel like most people, at least in like my realm, right? Like everyone is kind of on that page. Like they get it. Like, hey, I'm trying to get this done. Like maybe your first week of December, you're hitting it a little hard just to try to get everything done because the next couple weeks, especially when you got kids in school. I'll bring in the kids here because they're off for 2 weeks. I've never understood. There's that lyric in the Christmas song where it's like, and mom and dad can hardly wait for school to start again, because I feel that.
Yeah.
My God. 12 days. My kids tell me we have 12 days off. Like, I know you do. I'm well aware. Mommy's gonna have 12 days of drinking. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Just kidding, guys.
What's in the cup?
Yeah. What's in the cup now? Yeah.
I know.
Ross sympathizes or celebrates with those kids because he typically takes a year-end sabbatical. Now, I will break from that a couple times to do some podcasting duties, but for the most part, I don't work the back half of December, but I do echo what Myles said. Absolutely get your work done. Everybody who works with me knows that won't be a problem. So bust your butt, get your work done but also enjoy the holiday season. Here's my before I die very quickly. Very happy that the Gophers can attempt to go 1-0 in Duke's Mayo Championship Bowl season. However, I will say this. Only certain bowls should be played on New Year's Day, and the college football playoff obviously can continue past New Year's Day. We have a few also ran bowls that because of TV and wanting to get on the schedule now play post January 1st. This has happened for like 15 years now. The Duke's Mayo Bowl should not be played on a Friday night on January 3rd. That is a like December 28th bowl game. Before I die,
gonna watch it. It doesn't matter when it happens. They know nobody's gonna watch it.
Well, nobody's gonna watch it unless you're with those fan bases, anyways.
Well,
but
yes.
I just think that that's stupid. All second and third tier bowl games should be played by December 31st. That is my before I die.
I'm with you on that. I agree with that.
You know what? I'll do my before I die. Switch gears and do college football because while it was an absolutely tragic,
sorry, Jessi,
tragic Big 12 championship, my God. This is what I'm talking about with that team this year. All year
Is that how you do it for Arizona State? Is that what they do?
I don't know what they do. I don't care.
Forks up is
dominate
a great hashtag.
Like, what a hideous game. What a hideous game. But the solace, I was actually thrilled to see that they are playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl because the Pop-Tart Bowl is the most unhinged and exciting college football bowl game because you get to eat a Pop-Tart at the end and you get to watch the little guy pop out. It's incredible. So before I die, Iowa State's going to win the Pop-Tart Bowl because I just love it. They're playing Miami. All for it, all in. They got a very
That's going to be a good game, too, by the way.
It's going to be a good game. It should be a good game.
A couple things are hilarious here. One, you go from potentially being in the playoff to a bowl game that's largely more known for the hilarity than actually the game, but it typically has good matchups. So enjoy the Pop-Tart Bowl.
I'm going to enjoy the Pop-Tart Bowl. I was actually very excited. I laughed very hard. I was like, good. I'm probably going a little crazy from Iowa State football this year, but we're in.
You mean you're not going to go travel to the Pop-Tart Bowl?
I might, just because it's so hilarious to me. Like, I find it so funny. Like, we've talked about this before. Bowl games need to have more fun. Like, sports in general are supposed to be
absolutely
fun. Like,
especially when there's nothing like actually on the line.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing on the line. It's just for like an extra win.
Yeah. The almost all these bowl games, maybe the Pop-Tart Bowl might be a little bit different, but most of these bowl games are going to have, again, a fair amount of opt-outs or players sitting out for various reasons. So just enjoy them for what they are. Have fun. If your team wins, cool. If they don't, no big deal. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly. As always, we want you to enjoy all of our other Purple Daily content that you can find over with Scored North. We've got Wolves, Judd's Hockey Show, everything else, plus lots of Vikings talk as they continue to move toward playoff season of their own. Again, they could clinch with a win over Chicago on Monday night. It's Monday night, right? Monday Night Football. We'll see how that goes. Yay.
We'll talk later this week about when we'll record for next week, by the way.
Okay. All right, guys. Skol. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Hennepin. You forgot I robbed.
Hennepin.